Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Heart Breathings. I have been back in A5 binders this year, and it's bringing me so much joy to be able to set up a brand new one for the month of April. I used a cloth and paper throughout the months of January, February, March. It was black and sleek, and just have been loving the black on black for that winter period. But now it's spring, and I was looking for something a little more upbeat, something more colorful. And I went looking through for something blue because the book that I'm writing is called Throne of Thorns. It's the second book in my Shadow Game series. And I had shifted my nails to be blue. And I thought, you know what? Let's just go all in on blue themed everything right now. So I found this blue Kiki K. This was a gift to me from one of our members of the Heart Breathings community that came to HardyCon in New Orleans last year, 2025. And she brought me this, and I absolutely love it. I love the polka dots on the inside and had never had a chance to set it up and use it. So thank you to LA for this as a gift. It's just a blue, it's really like a periwinkle almost bright blue, and this is Kiki K. They don't make this anymore. I do think they still sell some binders, but it's not exactly the same company that it used to be. So I don't think they have as many A5 options as they used to. I haven't even been on their site in a long time, to be honest, but I'm so happy for all of my Kiki K collection from years past. And I'm so grateful to have this beautiful one. This is an addition. It was not a Hello Kitty collab or anything like that. But I went to the Hello Kitty cafe truck that travels around the United States last year and got one of these sets of, it's supposed to be like a patch that goes like on a denim jacket or something like that, but instead of being iron on, it's just a stick on. So it will come off. I did double test it to make sure that it's not going to damage the planner, but it's stuck on there pretty well. It hasn't been falling off, so I'm just going to leave it, but I thought it added a little extra piece of cuteness to the planner. So when you open it up, I have gone all crazy blue, pink, lots of bright colors. This to me feels very spring and it's bringing me life. So it took me a little bit of time to just gather up all the stuff that I wanted to use here. And some of this, if you've been around on my channel for a while, you've seen a lot of these stickers before. One of the challenges with this style of Kiki K, let me see if I can find another one that isn't decorated just to show you the way the pockets look. So we'll do just a little bit of comparison. So Kiki K planners now, like the most recent ones that I purchased, have pockets like this where you have a double pocket, a zipper, and then you've got pockets on top and little card slots here on the bottom. And this is nice too, but all of these Kiki Ks ended up having this gray interior, which I don't always love. Like I much prefer the brightness of this polka dot. So I love this. I'm so happy to have it. This is one of the older planners, and you can see this is the same setup here because when you purchase these planners, they have little notebooks slid into these pockets, like little to-do lists and stuff like that. I never use any of that stuff. And then it just has these two pockets down at the bottom, which if you like to put a lot of different things in your planner in terms of using the pockets, there's really just the two big pockets. And then if you can slide anything in here, you can, but there's not a lot of other stuff for it to hold on to. I love planners that have lots of pockets, not for functionality, but purely for decor. And so what I ended up doing this time, and I should have shown you guys the whole setup process, but to be honest, I just wanted to sit in bed and watch TV and set this up instead of having to record it. So we're doing a flip through instead. Basically, what I did was I took a piece of paper like this, like a scrapbook kind of paper, and I thought this pink stripe looked so good with the blue, especially when you put the Hello Kitty patch on here. And so I took the paper and cut it down to where it would go into that back pocket. And then I just took little bits of washi tape like I did here and folded it over so that I could take any of these little extra pieces and just put them down, but very temporarily, so they wouldn't move around. And I actually have a piece of washi tape on the back of this as well that just came off because I wanted to secure it so it doesn't move around in the folder. Because sometimes when you decorate a lot and you put a lot of little things in here, they tend to slide around and move around too much. So I want to secure them so that every time I open the planner, it doesn't just fall out. So I just put that little piece of matching scrapbook paper in the back with a family photo and little Coffee Monsters Co. And then also a little set of page flags here, mostly for decor, but also for functionality if I want to flag any pages in the back. And then I just took that piece of paper in the back and I started playing around with a look so that it looked really full and colorful, and you've got little things peeking out here and there. But then I also wanted to be able to put in this little paper clip. And so I ended up, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I ended up cutting a piece out of the paper, like a little slit, so that I could secure the clip to the paper. And then I just took washi tape and put it down on the planner so that it won't damage the planner, but it will keep everything in place. So all of these little things are mostly just secured with that little bit of washi tape. I love some of these. Like, how cute in spring is this little coffee fake tarot card with the cute little hearts and the pink and blue? It's so cute. I also really love this one that says fresh TBR picks. It's a little cherry one. And then I have something here from Wonton and a Million, a few things from Amberlin Studios. And I will link as many of these little sticker shops as I can. I got these cute little Huntrix one and the Derpy cat with Sussy Magpie at the top. So if you're a K-pop Demon Hunters fan, you probably already noticed those. So I will link as many of these shops below. Some of this stuff I have had for literally years, and some of it, like the Huntrix stuff, is a little bit newer. And like I said, I don't tend to even use them by taking the sticky off the back. I just put that little bit of extra tape on it to be able to use it and reuse it and reuse it. The HB90 sticker is a vinyl from Procrasta Planner. She sent me some of those as a gift, and I don't know if she still has those for sale, but I will try to find it and link it for you down below. So this is just decor. It's a vibe, so it makes me happy. Then I also have just a printout. This is just HP photo paper. I was using in some of my other planners cheap photo paper that I had gotten from Amazon, and it's fine. And I do still use it in some instances, but when I want a really pretty dashboard that's bright and colorful, I make sure to use more like HP or official printer brand paper that goes with my printer, if that makes sense. So this vision board I created on my Samsung tablet with a bunch of things that I took from Pinterest, as well as some of my own photos and picture of my book that's upcoming. I had gotten this, I can't remember the name of the shop, but I will link it as well. I do have my word of the year on my vision board for the quarter. And I also had bought these stickers for every month of the year from that shop. Again, I cannot remember the name of the shop, but I'll link it down below. So I just took the Hello April, and then I have the May and June because I think I'll keep this planner set up for most of the quarter in a little folder in the back. So my vision board. And then I kept a few things from the previous setup. So I just made this 2026 vellum myself in Canva and then printed it out. Then there's just a 2026 calendar that I also made in vellum. This is a Sunday start. And I marked off my book release. And I'm hoping that I will also go in and be able to put in a couple of more book releases throughout the year. But also, I was thinking that I would love to keep up with this with like a dot marker to be able to put when I had YouTube videos out or when I did live streams so that I could see at a glance all the different things that I had done throughout the year, because I know sometimes it's just helpful to look and see that I actually did something, because so often you feel like, oh, I'm so busy, but where's the result? And you can't see the progress. And I'm a very visual progress person. So that was the intention for this sheet. However, every little system that you try to implement is something else that you have to keep up with, like habit trackers and, tracking your live streams and other things like that. And it just doesn't always work out that there's enough time to do it all, as much as it would be so nice to have that final product. Some things you have to just let go. Then I do have this fold out. And again, I'll have to look and see exactly where I got this, but it's printed on a letter size paper and then cut down to be a fold out for A5. And here I did actually put a lot of my course schedule. So the purple is coffee chats, the pink is course stuff, the blue is follow through fix, which is my new membership this year. We've got a family vacation. I have input some of the things for Q2 as well as 3 and 4, but not everything. But just as I think of things or as I schedule things, I try to add them in here just for quick reference. If somebody's sitting with me or somebody asks, "Oh, are you free this day?" I can at least tell if I have a live stream or a course launch or something going on at that time. Then I got these also years ago. This is from Webster's Pages, and it's just little 2 by 2 photo album basically. And so I went through and printed out some photos from our epic road trip last summer where we were on a 20+ day journey across the country from Texas to North Carolina and then all the way back through the Smoky Mountains and Arkansas. And I wanted to just remember that as we move into spring, and hopefully this planner will move us into summer vacation as well. So I printed out some things from there and also had a few that I left over from previous iteration of this. Then I think these are from, let's see, this is from Elamon Paper Co. And it's basically just each page is a quarter. So you have January, February, March here. And I wasn't sure how I was going to use these pages. I actually purchased these from her a couple of years ago and then didn't use them. So now that I'm back in A5, I'm trying to use some of the stash of things that I had purchased previously. So for Q1, what I ended up doing was just putting the major projects that I accomplished throughout or that I was focused on throughout. And then I used this little faux memo printer to print out some pictures or a memory or something from that particular time. So it was my birthday in January as well as the New Year stuff. So I printed this out, then went on a writing retreat with my friend Megan. So I printed this from Magnolia, and then released a book in March. So I printed out the book cover there. And so as we move into Q2, I did go ahead in April and put down the 3 main projects that I'm hoping to work on. And maybe what I should do is highlight them if I actually accomplished it. I don't know, but this is how I'm using it for now. So it will serve a little bit as a memory keeping of what major projects I was working on during which months and quarters of the year. I have this inbox from Cloth and Paper, and I have just been using some clear see-through sticky notes that really the best way to write on these is just using a Sharpie marker. So I have a Sharpie pen. This is different from the permanent marker. The Sharpie pen doesn't write as well on this, but the permanent marker writes great. So sometimes I use that, just things to kind of remember. And then once I've cleared them, I pull them off. I never got around to adding titles to my headers here or to my dashboard. So I may just leave it because I kind of know by memory what they are. But I always, like I said, there's always so many systems and things that I have good intentions of setting up, and I just don't always have the time. So sometimes things just have to fall behind. And, priority was not necessarily labeling these, but this first one is really my goals section. So I have scheduling stuff at the very front, and then we have just the main goals. And so I don't print out my entire HB90 planner to go into my A5 binder because I have it in letter size for the goals planner, but I do print out the main pages that I want to reference or look at throughout the quarter. I also printed out this pretty picture of, again, the summer trip that we went to my alma mater at Vanderbilt. And so I have the kids there, which is always a good reminder too in my planner, not just of, how far I've come, but also to try to put in reminders of this is why you're doing this work. This is why you're showing up every day, is to provide the best life you can for your family, to go on vacations with them, to experience joy, to see beauty. And so those are always good reminders. I have this little goals tab here, and then my HB90Q2. And I haven't filled this out here because I've only filled it out in my letter size, but I want to bring that over here, especially this little calendar here, where this is basically an ideal calendar. So my ideal is not going to be how it goes every day, but this is the routine that I'd like to follow. And I have a number of task blocks. So with HB90, we do every 30 minutes is a task block. So if you're familiar with Pomodoro method, 30 minutes is a block of time. And so I like to say, how many task blocks do I have per day to work on average on a typical Monday, a typical Tuesday? And I do reference this quite a bit. So I need to get this filled in like today. And then I have the overview of the quarter. Last quarter, I never ended up filling this in because I have it already in that other space, but I do want to go through and fill this out just with how many task blocks I said I was going to have for the week, even if I don't fill out the whole thing. So I need to just make time this afternoon to do it. I'm also going to copy my 3 goals over. It's pretty typical that my goal number 1 is a writing goal, mostly that I want to write and publish A Throne of Thorns, which is book 2 of my series this quarter. Goal 2 is heart breathing, so getting YouTube videos out, running the Rough Draft Challenge, things like that. Goal 3 is more of a health and admin goal for me this quarter. So this is very much like prioritizing my energy, getting enough sleep, getting plenty of water, reducing my sugar intake, and also continuing to onboard my new team members and taking more stress off my plate. So this is very much like a health and wellness. And there's a lot of decluttering in this goal as well. So those are the 3 goals, but I have specific outcomes that I want to hit. So I want to add those in so that I can check them off and keep an eye on them. Then I just have the yearly calendar, which I don't usually do a lot with other than just reference. You guys have seen this before if you've been around. If not, go ahead and subscribe. I love to talk about planners and writing and being a creative entrepreneur and managing my time and things like that. But if you've been around, you've seen some of these things before because, I used to set up A5 binder every single month. And when I would set it up for the month, I would often buy or create brand new dashboards, brand new tabs and dividers and things like that. And it just started to get so expensive. And then I had so much that I would misplace things. And then I would say, where's that one from May? And I would spend an hour looking for something to go in my planner. And it just started to become a big waste of time. So simplifying means sometimes less really unique and beautiful novel things, but to try to get the system and reuse the things that you love more and more. And sometimes I'm still going to buy new things, and sometimes I'm going to just reuse things over and over and over again more than I used to. But anyway, this came from a place that is no longer still making these, but I will link another planner shop that makes cute dashboards. This is a picture from a photo shoot that we did in Chicago with my friend Amber. This little section here is really a project section. It's mostly empty because I took everything out that I had been working on previously. So this is where I will just take random notes about the projects that I'm working on for the quarter. So this won't be projects like my writing project, but it will be for the admin stuff. So Project Phoenix is something I've been wanting to work on for several years and haven't had the bandwidth for, that now that I have more team behind me, we're going to really be moving on this in Q2. So I had done a brain dump back in January. And so some of this stuff I started checking off. And now we're moving a lot of these things into Asana so that Malia, my new operations manager, can be helping me out with that. And then I had some promo stuff that I wanted to work on in here as well. But otherwise, it's empty until I start filling it out with mostly cloth and paper. I love these duo notes. They're like my favorite because you can put next steps here, but then you can put a to-do list over here. I just like having both sides to the notes. Is probably my favorite insert from her shop. This next section is my HB90 section. So I have this cute little jelly cover that says Sarah, a photo that I had printed out previously that I'm reusing that is of my desk shortly after we had moved into this house. Notebooks stacked everywhere. Oh, I'm just realizing too that I have that same quote printed twice on the back. So I must have really wanted that reminder. You are capable of more than you give yourself credit for. I think I probably printed it twice too because of the blue heart. So it's in here twice. So this month, dashboard is from the same shop that I had gotten this Hello April from. So again, that'll all be linked in the description below. But I like having the tab that I can turn right to the month. The April focus page, right now I only have April printed out, but what I did last quarter was I left enough space to also add May and June, and I added them as the month approached. But this time, what I might do is go ahead and print out May and June so that I can be adding things to it as the schedule comes up. But I just love this new page. This went into the planner in 2025, and it's one of my favorite new additions to the planner, which is a chance to put your key projects and deadlines that are coming up so I can see at a glance. I reference this page a lot because this is the main projects that I'm working on for the quarter, and these are my main like milestones. This is the things I want to have done by the end of the month. Then we have a calendar, which right now only has just a handful of things on it. And then we are moving into my weekly plan. So this is my HB90 planner. And for week one, I was mostly focused on goals 1 and 2 without adding a lot into goal 2 or goal 3. But for second week so far of the quarter, and I'm like, how are we already in week 2 of Q2? I feel like the older I get, time just continues to move faster and faster and faster. And I wish I could just hit a pause button on life and say, can you just pause for a minute and let me get everything together? And then I'll tell you when it's time to go again. But unfortunately, life is just not going to work that way. So, anyway, I have more goals 1 and 2, but I also have a bunch of things I'm hoping to get to in goal 3, but I didn't add it to the planner yet because I'm just not sure if I'll have time. So, we'll see. I'm not even sure exactly when you guys will be watching this, but this is how I track my time. And when it comes to the weekly week on 2 spreads, I lately have been just planning for Monday and then adding things in as I see, but not adding the rest of it in just yet because I'm waiting for a few other things like when does my team have availability? I have a meeting this week, but I wasn't sure when that was going to be able to take place. So I didn't fill this out 100% yet, but I'm hoping to go through and finish filling that out. And then Monday, the kids were off school. So this is my Tuesday plan for the week. And so far, it's going to be a super, super busy day. So we'll see how this goes. I am recording this on Tuesday, which is number 1 on my list. I'm also getting the Erin Condren box today. They said they overnighted it to me. So I'm just like looking at my watch, waiting for it to appear because that video of the launch stuff for Erin Condren will probably come out before this A5 video, but it kind of depends. So anyway, hopefully that will be out soon. But I love the daily pages, so I just continuing on with that. And like I said, I might go ahead and print out the pages for May and June just so I have them already done. I forgot to mention too that I have this little plastic piece that has little cutout so that you can add charms. So I have this little Erin Condren Druzy charm, which I don't think they have these anymore, but I wish they would do more charms. So we'll see if they ever release any more. Then I also have this cute little dragonfly, which was a gift from one of my subscribers. And then the final one is this little heart that has a rose quartz in it, which is also very cute. This next section is my Sarra Cannon section. So I run 2 separate brands. Sarra Cannon is my author career. Heart Breathings is my, I guess, writer focused. One is reader focused, one is writer focused, but they kind of blend in. So anyway, I have this Dream Life dashboard I had created a few years ago that I had already printed before. So I'm just reusing that. Then this is my vision board for the entire year. So as you can see, I love making vision boards. This is my quarterly vision board. This is my yearly vision board. And I just like to revisit it and look at it. This is my vision board for A Throne of Thorns, which is book 2 of my series. Then I have this Sarah vellum. And this I know came from Annie's Planner Co. And I will link her shop below because she does some really cute dashboards, but it says bestseller. And then I have a bunch of my book covers on this sheet. I just made this in Canva and just put all my book covers on there. And I just like to look at it like you are doing things. Don't forget, you are a writer. Let's keep this going. But I have these pages that are essentially social media planning pages. And I have a love-hate relationship with content planning, you guys, because I feel like I run so many different social medias. I have, I think, like 8 different Facebook groups that I manage, 2 YouTube channels, 2 Instagram channels, actually now a membership on each side of my business. I wanna be posting on TikTok. I have 2 newsletters. It's a lot to manage, and in the past, a lot of what has happened is just I just don't get to most of it. But I'm trying in 2026, one of my big goals is to more frequently be able to post consistently on each of my channels, but figuring out exactly how and when to create the right system so that I can continue to post not just any kind of content. Like, I'm seeing all these Facebook ads for like create 100 posts in 30 minutes with AI, and I'm just not interested in that. I want for my posts to feel real to me. I want them to be meaningful. I want them to be helpful for my audience, which means I need time to actually sit down and think about it. Like, what do you guys need right now? What would be helpful? What would be funny? What would be interesting? And I have to put creativity into it for it to be what I want it to be. However, I have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of creative energy. And so now that I'm trying to write more books this year, it gives me less creative energy for making YouTube shorts or writing another newsletter. So I feel like I'm consistently experimenting and trying new things to see how to find that balance. And one of the things I think over and over, like I would love to keep coming back to, or the idea that I keep coming back to, is batching. That if I had a dedicated day every month that was just for newsletter content, for example, then I could batch all of that content. But I have had such a backlog of things that were already behind that I haven't had the freedom to just take a breath and have a newsletter batching day. And so I feel like this is a big part of what Q2 is for me, because Q1 was a lot of catching up, training new people for my team. And now that we're going and we're moving forward, I feel like I can breathe a little bit more. I've got a lot more creative energy on my plate. I'm having more time for family and fun and health and other things like that. So I'm hoping that's also going to mean more time for batching content and being really intentional with my content. So we'll see how it goes. But these back pages, I didn't even use them. So I just reprinted the first couple pages and now we'll just try again. And so much of planning and systems, I think, are like this, where you experiment with something, you try it, it doesn't work, you review, why didn't this work? Okay, let's try it a different way. And you just keep trying to refine that process. And I kept thinking years ago that eventually I would get to a system that's like, this is it. And now we do it forever. But my brain also seeks novelty. And so I'm always looking for something new to try. So I think I'll just always perpetually be a work in progress in terms of my systems. But the ideal here is that I've got Monday through Sunday and then a place for notes. And one of the things I didn't do this week that I would like to do is down at the bottom on one of these sides to mark how many followers I have at the beginning of a month or at the beginning of the week. Actually, I might put it right underneath here. So, like my YouTube channel, for example, is 13,000 something subscribers on this Sarra Cannon YouTube channel. So, I'd like to keep that number in mind so that at the end of the week, I can see, did the actions I take grow my channel at all this week? Even if it's by one person, that's a win, right? So, just keeping an eye on those metrics would be helpful for me. And so I need to integrate that into this sheet. But the idea here is that I would sit down and plan out, okay, what posts am I making? What Instagram am I going to do? Any short form, et cetera. What news, when am I doing a newsletter so that I can get ahead? And hopefully by the end of this quarter, you guys will see progress there, because Q1, I made no progress on that really at all. Just a picture of my book stack that has this folder in the back, or like a little pocket. This is where I stuck the Hello May and June, as well as another little book cover. I have this Salty Katie Co. pocket where I also have some book covers in here that I was using in my brainstorming sheets for marketing stuff. Another divider with a Hello Kitty divider, and then the same pages that you just saw with heart breathings. And again, didn't get used last quarter, so we're trying again. If I make it another whole quarter and I don't use them, I'll use those sections for something else and I'll let it go. I have another folder here that has this Broken Chapter Society membership card. I like to use it for tearing washi tape or for giving myself a straight edge, as well as some stickers back here. some Erin Condren A5 lined notes sheets that, again, because this is a new quarter, I just emptied out all the old notes and have put in blank ones. So that's why these are blank. But this section is really a section for me to take notes in meetings. I have a meeting notebook that I keep specific kinds of meetings, like meetings with my assistant, meetings with my mastermind, things like that. But this will be a section for meetings with like brands, or with like I'm meeting with Kajabi because I'm probably moving my courses from Teachable to Kajabi. Don't worry if you're in one of my courses. I will lead you through the process, but that meeting is happening this week. And so I'll keep track of that in this section as well, or any ideas that come up. Then I have this one final section that says shoot for the moon. This is kind of just a dream section. So I have a drawing of my future life, and then I have a section for positive affirmations and things like that. Lists in the back. I didn't end up using any of these last sections here. Oh, and I have this cute little, I think this came from Coco Daisy years ago, this super cute charm, and it came on like a chain, but the chain broke. So I've just got it kind of tucked into the back little notebook spot with that Sharpie pen. So that is a look at my setup for spring for my A5 binder. And I'm so loving being back in an A5, even though it's not my only planner. This is the one that I am in every single day with those HB90 pages. That's the main page that I turn to over and over again. And hopefully I will be able to get some social media planning done this quarter, or at least get my system down. So if you have a social media system that works really well for you, or you happen to manage two separate brands and you have some tips on how to manage all your different social medias, please let me know, because I'm always looking for new ways. Otherwise, I will link as many of the shops as I can down below here. And I am wishing you an amazing Q2 ahead. I hope that if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, your spring is wonderful. And as you move into fall in the Southern Hemisphere, I hope that you are cozying up and enjoying the last of summer. All right. I super love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new to my channel, come subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everybody.